These are the books that are top of the priority. They must be read in 2026 or else, I don't know. All right, hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Claire, and today I want to sit down and join the masses and share the books that I want to read in 2026. Because alas, life as a reader, your job is never done. There's always more books to read. This list is not going to just be new releases. It's kind of partially new releases that I have my eye on. I think there's about 16 or so on this list. I'm sure many more will arise, but these are just the ones I have on my radar right now. And then I have another list of books that I just keep putting off. They need to happen next year. These are the books that are top of the priority. They must be read in 2026 or else, I don't know. I just really want to read them in 2026 because I've been thinking about them, talking about them, or just like spending way too much of my energy on them without actually reading them. So if you are new here, I am big into sci-fi, fantasy, speculative fiction. I really like most things YA, and I do also read contemporary romance. And then if you really want to get specific, with like a really niche interest in indie authors, lit RPG, aka Dungeon Crawler Carl, cozy fantasy, I am beginning to enjoy. Didn't think that I would, but I am. Look, it's a mixed bag over here. And that is probably what this list is going to be. So yeah, grab a tea, kick back, and let's get into some books I want to read in 2026. Alrighty, so first off the bat is Alex Stern, number 3, which is by none other than Leigh Bardugo, Deadbeat. If you haven't heard of this series, this is part of the Ninth House series, which currently includes Ninth House and Hellbent. In this book series, we're following Galaxy Stern, Alex Stern, who can see dead people, and she is recruited into this ninth house of Yale University to kind of manage the other secret societies of Yale and their undercover witchy goings on. That's kind of the gist. I love this book. I'm currently on my second reread of Ninth House, and I probably will read Ninth House and Hellbent in preparation. I just truly love this series so much. I was so devastated when I realized that it was meant to be like a 10-book series, but Leigh, when she was doing the research for it, realized that it was far too in-depth and that she had to cut it down, which is sad for us, but I am excited that we will get to see an ending to the storyline. I will be secretly mourning the fact that it could have been more. Very excited to see the ending of this story. Next up is the follow-up to Rose Vargan by Sasha Payton Smith, which is The Thorn Queen. I loved this book so much. It was such an unexpected delight of a read for me this year. One that I just kind of went into with very low expectations. I haven't really had a history of enjoying like Regency style novels, but this won my heart. In this book, the season is officially open. High society girls line up to bargain with the immortal Queen Morin for qualities that will win them suitors. A perfect smile for the loss of a finger, an exquisite talent for piano in exchange for one happiest childhood memory. Lady Ivy Benton plans to use her bargain to uncover the truth about what happened to her beloved sister, Lydia, whose mysterious disappearance and reappearance means that the Benton family have been cast out by polite society. In this book, we get a peek into like the fairy otherworlds, and when I tell you it sparked an obsession, we are obsessed. I cannot wait to see where we go with Thorn Queen in the sequel to this duology. Speaking of duologies, I believe again this is going to be a duology, and that would be Skip Shock. This book, again, was such an unexpected delight. By Carolyn O'Donoghue, new to me author, obsessed with her writing style. I love this world that she has built. This is truly one of those duologies where you finish and you are on a literal cliff's edge. So I cannot, when I tell you, I cannot wait to get my hands on that next book. I don't know when it's coming out next year, but I do know it's coming out. And when I tell you I will run to get that copy, running will be happening. Now in this, we are following Margot, who is a student who has like recently lost her father, and her mother, can't actually really remember, but her mother is haywire and sends her off to boarding school. And so Margot is on this train going from, I don't know where she's going from, but she's going to Dublin. And on the train to Dublin, she kind of closes her eyes, opens them back up, and she's on a different train in a whole nother world. And she meets Moon, who is a salesman, which I'm not even going to go too much into because that's part of the delight of the story. She meets him. They go on a bit of an adventure to try and figure out how to get her back to her world. I think one of the genius things about this novel that I haven't really seen in other things is the fact that they can travel by train to different places, and the different places have different number of hours per day. And so there's this kind of conversation of richness of time and how much time you have to live based on the place that you live. And it's just like a fun little twist on this look at resources that we get from birth based on where we live and the status and class that we get put into. And I don't hear enough people talking about this book, and it makes me sad. So I really hope that this book gets another little push into the world with its second book, which has no name as of right now. Next up on the list, I have been waiting for this book for many a year. I don't truly know what happened. I imagine that there is a story there. But anyway, it's been a hot minute, but Burn of the Everflame is finally going to be in our hands. Now, I read Spark of the Everflame, the first 1, 2, 3 of this 4-book series. I read the first 3 back in 2022, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was a while ago. I binged because at the time they were on Kindle Unlimited. I didn't realize, but they were indie pubbed, and what a slow burn. If you like a slow burn romance, you're gonna love this book. I am a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, about how it's gonna end, because when the author has the tag of one of the characters' name in her bio, and it's not the one you're rooting for, it's concerning, you know? So yeah, I don't know what to do with that information. But anyway, in Spark of the Everflame, gosh, it has been so long. I don't even think I really know what it's about. It says here, when old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. In a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the descended, their cruel offspring, DM Bellator yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offered DM an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. With the dying king's handsome, mysterious heir watching her every move, and a ruthless mortal alliance recruiting her to join a civil war, DM will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, politics in order to save her family. Yeah. This one's great, honestly. There's a lot of political intrigue. There are a few like very common tropes, if you will, but in a way that it uses it to start the foundation, but then the foundation grows from that and then it moves and morphs into its own thing. So that one's that. I'm excited to see where this saga ends. Next up is the follow-up to Direbound, which is Furybound. Now, the first 100 pages of this book, I was like, what is happening? Where are we? What are we doing? We're following a world where army, like elite segment of the army that protects this kingdom, have the opportunity to bond with direwolves. And the first section, I was like, where are the direwolves? What are we doing? There was a lot of setting up of the world, which I must say, I do have the indie copy, so I don't know if that changed with the traditionally published version. But once you're in it, then you kind of get this wolfy style. Like if you like a werewolf romance, you get those kind of vibes, but not obviously, they aren't the wolves, they have the wolves. And there's like a whole other drama with the vampires that they are warring against, which now that I'm saying it out loud feels like very common, werewolves versus vampires. But it really worked for me, and the ending, I was very shocked. Did not see it coming. And I am excited to see where this takes us, because something does happen at the end here where you're like, I need to know. So next on my list, I just have Ali Hazelwood. I know nothing that she is releasing next year. I will be reading Ali Hazelwood. I read 3 of her books this year, and all of them were released this year, so I have high hopes she will be releasing new goods for us. The next one on the list is a new to me author, Isabel Ibanez, Graceless Heart. It is coming out early next year actually, so it'll be straight off the bat in January. A lush, atmospheric, achingly magical, standalone, magical words to my ears. I have too many series on the go. Adult fantasy romance set in Renaissance Italy. In a 15th century, Volterra sculptress Ravenna enters a competition hosted by a secretive immortal family who offer invaluable boon to the victor. Desperate to win so she can save her brother, Ravenna reveals a rare magical talent, a dangerous act in a city where magic is forbidden. Her revelation makes her a target, and she is kidnapped by the Luni family and taken to Florence, a city of breathtaking beauty and cutthroat ambition. There, Ravenna is forced into an impossible task where failure means certain death at the hands of Santorina de Luni. Oh god. The family's enigmatic and merciless heir. But under his cold reserves hides a vulnerability that draws her closer than she ever intended. It keeps going, but it sounds great. Honestly, that just sounds very different to much I've read. Renaissance Italy sounds kind of fun. The next 3 on my list are actually people that I follow online that I've never read their work before, and I honestly just have loved their work online, and I really want to support them and their author pursuits. And I'm also just very curious to see what their writing style is like, because I've been seeing them talk about their writing and I'm very here for it. So those 3 are The Secret Life of Briar Rose, Theodore's Tea Shop, and The Impossible Garden of Clara Thorne. These 3 books are, I think the first one is very interesting premise. It is a Sleeping Beauty retelling with a meditation on, I don't know if I can say the word here, which I hate that, it's so silly, but anyway, the self-exiting of the world, we will say. And the meditation isn't in a glorifying way, not by any means. It's just the way she's described it, you can go to her channel and check her out. It's just very interesting in the way she described it. I was like, I want to check that out. I cannot wait to read that one. Next is Theodore's Tea Shop, 1920s, atmospheric. You sold me there, and I cannot wait to see how that has come out after having watched the process on YouTube. And then the last one is Summer England's Impossible Garden of Clara Thorne. This, honestly, I like watching Summer's videos, and I feel like Summer is very eloquently spoken. She has a theatre background, and there's something about the way she shares these little like tidbits of stories online. I'm like, I like the way your brain works, and I can't wait to see how that translates to a long form fiction. And the premise is very fun. Love grows in the most impossible of places. It's kind of the spell shop meets can't spell treason without T, so cozy fantasy. All Gardener Claire Thorne wants to do is live a happily ever after in her beloved town of Moss. So cute. Magically growing herbs and vegetables and trying to write her book. But fate has other plans when the goddess unexpectedly bestows her with an impossible quest. Clara has 1 month to travel the cursed and abandoned town of Dwindle to grow them a garden. If she fails, she will be banished. Only Clara's magic doesn't work outside of Moss, a fact that she has kept hidden for years. Worse, the goddess is assigned the absurdly sexy and annoyingly cheerful Hesper Altenfall to keep her safe. So yeah, we have a bit of a sapphic, cozy fantasy, and it sounds really fun. This is my year of really appreciating cozy fantasy. I went a really long time with not liking it. I just didn't get it, but now I understand. I do understand now. So now the last one is technically, I would probably still bulk this in, which is absurd, but this is the way media works these days, I guess. But the third is an author that I have followed online for a really long time. I've never read her work, and I just really like watching her process and behind the scenes and all that, and I've just not really felt that drawn to her past work. But this new one is catching my fancy, and I'm very excited. It's her first adult fantasy, and this is Victoria Aveyard, Tempest. is the book, and it is a pirate fantasy. Say no more. Say no more. I'm so excited to read that. Next on the list is Agnes Orbert's Mystical Cat Shelter. This is by none other than the lovely human who has given us the Emily Wilde series, Heather Fawcett. The level of love that I have for this series is kind of unhinged. I'm literally only on the second book, and I know that I will reread these. Like, I remember when I watched Gilmore Girls for the first time and I was like, this is my soul show. And I know I'm not alone here, but I watched that and I was like, I'm gonna watch this for the rest of my life. That's how I kind of feel about this. I don't know. Ooh, it might be a little early. It's just cozy, it's hearty, the writing is beautiful. And so anyway, I truly know not much about the cat shelter. I didn't think that I would be interested in reading about a cat shelter, but alas, Heather, I will read what you write. She is just now gonna be one of those authors for me. Alright, so the next one on the list is again a new to me author. This is Tegan Olivia King, Bitter Bloom. This title, first of all, it's crazy what a good title can do. But this one we are following Adelaide Thorne. Apparently Thorne is a very popular name in 2026. In a village plagued by mysterious deaths, Adelaide Thorne wonders if she's truly touched by the devil. The villagers of Rixton, including Adelaide's father, the vicar, believe her to be the monster responsible for all the town's tragedies, spurred on by the strange visions and blackouts caused by her chronic illness. Kept locked away for funerals, even Addie herself begins to wonder if she's the one with blood on her hands. But when she discovers a peculiar bell nestled in a riverbed, Addie realizes the truth behind her strange visions. They are actually the ghosts of the village's dead, searching for rest. That sounds so fun. But someone talking to dead people? I'm in. Now, the next one is Thistlemarch. This is, again, a new to me author. I've honestly scoured the internet for just books that are coming out in 2026, and these just came up, and I just thought that the premise was very interesting, so I've never read these authors before, so I think, yeah, we'll be giving a chance to these new to me authors. Oh, fairies. It's about fairies. In Thistlemarch, fairies disappeared over 100 years ago as suddenly as slipping through a doorway. It was only the very foolish or the very determined who held out hope for their return. Welcome to Thistlemarch. Marsh? My God, I can't say that. Welcome to Thistlemarsh, a ramshackle estate where the impoverished orphan and a beguiling fairy collide in an enchanting novel of love, revenge, and ruin. In the wake of World War I, the world is a decidedly unmagical place for Mouse Dunn. I don't know how I feel about her name being Mouse, but that's okay. She once dreamed of becoming a fairy anthropologist. I sense an Emily Wilde fan in the room. But with one telegram, her world shattered. At the Battle of the Somme, her cousin's body disappeared into the mud, and her brother was left with a debilitating shell shock. It was time, she knew, to put aside the childish dreams. When Mouse receives news that her uncle has left her the fairy-blessed Thistlemarsh Hall, a dilapidated manor in the English country. I can't talk. A manor in the English countryside, she must leave her brother's side and return to her childhood home to claim her birthright. But there is a catch in her uncles. It doesn't say anything else. I think that's a typo. There's a catch. If Mouse does not rehabilitate the crumbling house in 1 month's time, she'll forfeit her inheritance and any hope of caring for her brother. And then a mysterious fairy appears to offer to help her restore the house. So, sounds like a very good time. Sorry, that was terrible. I will be using that again. Alrighty, and then the last of our list of new releases. I just found out about this today, I think, or yesterday, and this is a new release by Julia Olivia, which you may know as the author of If It Makes You Happy. Love Felt Like This. I feel like it should be If Love Felt Like This, but Love Felt Like This is also fine. Now, on to the general books that I want to read that have just been on my list for far too long. Some of these you might be thinking, Claire, why are these on your list? And there's going to be a few reasons. Some of these, I will say, are not the height of literature. Some of these are just books that I read when I was a kid or read many, many years ago that I never finished the series and just like made my heart a little bit happy. Okay? Yeah, we don't judge reading taste around here. We sometimes read because we want to heighten our intellectual curiosity, and sometimes we read for the novelty, the fun of it, the fiction, the fantastic. Do with that information what you will, and this is my list of books that have been on my list for way too long that we will be tackling. At least the first one in the series, if I haven't started it. Let's begin. Okay, the first is The Mortal Instruments. Now, I know. I really don't know why I feel the call to go there, but I really did grow up in the Hunger Games and the Twilights and that kind of era, and this book is really in that bulk of just like teenage reminiscence. I didn't read it as a teenager, but I did read the first book, City of Ashes, many, many years ago when I was traveling around Australia, I think 2021. And I remember reading it being like, what? And then the ending happened and I was like, no, but I feel like I need to know a little bit more about this city. I can safely say now that I know that it was originally a fanfic, I need to keep reading because I don't know, something very fascinating about fanfic writers turning authors that I just find very interesting, and I find them to be a very fascinating subsect of the writer community, and I just want to read it. The next one is the Hierarchy series. I have this, The Will of the Many. I have this in both ebook and physical copy because I was like, I'm gonna love this book, I want to annotate it, but I haven't read either, so I will be reading this next year. But I did actually start this and it was insanely good. We are following a world where your will is almost like your soul or your life energy or your life's your life's energy. And based on this hierarchy, where you fall is where you give your energy to. So if you're in like the lower end of the hierarchy, you're gifting your will to the top of the hierarchy. And it's just a fascinating little meditation on hierarchies, obviously. The next on the list is the Shadow Me series. Now, let me explain myself, because I think that there is a part of my soul that just will sing for dystopian fiction for the rest of my life. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll get over it eventually. Maybe it's just reminiscence value. I don't know, but I read Shadow Me this year. I binged it and I didn't own the physical copies at the time, and I was so like itching to just dive into the next one. And at the time I was like, you know what, I don't really want to continue this because that's all I'm going to read in the foreseeable future and I won't get through the rest of my list. Turns out I can't stop thinking about it, and so I ordered the rest and I was like, well, we'll just sit down for a week and read them all very quickly. If you know nothing about this book, we meet our FMC. She is locked in a cell, and the way that this is written is kind of like you're in the head of a crazy person. She's like cursing out things. It's very wild and kind of a weird thing to read when you first start, but you get used to it. So yeah, you can see here. And I actually think it's brilliant. I have not seen many other writers experiment like this, and I found it a really fun little experiment. I think it really worked for the character. Anyway, she can't touch people. When she touches them, bad things happen. And then she gets pulled out of the prison by Warner, who is, we're not quite sure who he is, but he wants to use her. I'm not even really going to go too much more into it because I don't want to spoil it. So that's that one. Then the next one is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I read the first book in this series this year, the 5th season, and again, this was this year of just like, I really wanted to try a lot of different things this year just to really stretch the bounds of my tastes, and I think I did achieve that, but it just means that I've like left myself halfway through or at the start of many, many series. So that is my next series. This series if you know nothing about it, is unique in that it won a Hugo Award for every single book in the series, which is insane. I think it's the only book to do this thus far, and rightfully so. This book is insane. We are in a futuristic version of world, or maybe it's a past, I don't know, but essentially Earth is devastated by earth shakes, and because of that we have volcanoes erupting and desert storms and all these crazy things, and we have these group of people, origines I believe that they are called. It's been a hot minute since I read this book, but this group of people is able to steady the earthquakes, and so they're like kind of put to work to manage the earth, which a very rightful metaphor if you ask me. They are the working class that kind of take care of everyone else. Somehow they're treated like trash and outcast, and honestly I don't even know how to like fully describe this world to you, but it is probably one of the most fantastical, crazy fantasies I've ever read. I don't know what else to tell you. It is not a light read, and the first book is very confusing because it's got 3 POVs. One is told in the second POV, which it's basically, it's saying you are doing this, you are doing this, which you don't read very often, but once you get into it, you get used to it. But yeah, this series is like, in part, I don't want to finish it because I don't want it to ever end, so I don't want to, I'm like delaying finishing it, but on the other side, I just really want to binge it all in one weekend, so that's how I feel about that one. The next one is Now. I was a Divergent diehard. I love that book. I have reread that book multiple times, and when I tell you I read it and I know without a shadow of a doubt that it was her first book, and it was not the most perfectly written book, and that's okay, but I love that book with every fiber of my being. I love that book, and yet somehow I have not read another Veronica Roth book, and I have been following Carrie Reed's a lot recently, and she was talking about Veronica Roth's newest books, or books that occurred after Divergent, and it occurred to me, I was like, why have I never read anything else by this author? And so I really want to read, what is it called? I want to read the Carve the Mark duology. I think it's considered a space odyssey. That sounds really fun, and I really want to see how her writing style has evolved since Divergent. Next, tell me why I have bought this box set twice in my life. I bought it once when I was 21 and I was at uni, and as a hobby, aside from my reading, I bought books. And so I bought it back then, and I think I made it about halfway through. I must have been watching True Blood at the time, and I was like, you know what? Gotta read the OG. So I ordered the box set. I think I got halfway through because I was at uni and life was busy, and I never read the entire series. So when we moved into this place, I was like, this is the year. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna read Vampire, True Blood, OG. And it hasn't happened. I have 13 of them sitting there. So my logic is if I tackle one of these a month, we're in good standing, and I just will have one extra. Look, even if I don't get to the whole set, I want to at least read the first one and decide if I want to keep going. But I feel like it could be a really fun one, just to like, you know, almost have it as like a little vampire palette cleanser, if you will. Alrighty, now because we are kind of getting to the end of this and I'm losing all of my steam, I'm gonna kind of just quick fire the last few. And we won't go into the full descriptions of them, but just so you know, they're on my radar. The next is Fight Club. I watched this movie, obsessively love this movie, and it's just been on my list for literally over 10 years. Like, it's just always been on the back of my mind. I want to read the cult classic that made the film. Howl's Moving Castle, again, I think I'm leaning a little bit more into like atmospheric, vibey style of books, and Howl's Moving Castle seems to very much be constantly sourced as like a hallmark of that genre, so I want to read that. Road of Bones by Demi Winters. This book is Norse mythology based, and that's all I need to know. Truthfully, I've heard rave reviews about it, and I just think I need a little bit more Norse in my reading palette. I did also forget to write this. But I do also want to read The Master of Jinn, which again is a very culturally distinct, oh, and The Woven Kingdom. Oh my god, I have too many books to read. We put those in our little like mythologically culturally diverse, shall I say. I love reading about different cultures' mythology. There's something about it that just makes me very happy. And the last, but certainly not least, would be, I don't have the actual first book, so we're just going to use the second book, would be The Six of Crows. I've attempted to read this like multiple times, and I recently just went to Amsterdam, and I know that it's not set in Amsterdam per se, but it is in a similarly named place, and it's got the canals, and like I think even one of the names of the characters is Joost, which is a Dutch name. So I feel like now is the time, now that I have that like additional layer of cultural context, I feel like I'll appreciate it more. I don't know. I feel definitely more called to it, but yeah, I do want to read that as well. Alright, well, my tea is officially cold and there is still some in there, but we are going to leave it there. Those are the books I really want to get to in 2026. Yeah, if you have any others that are at the top of your list, I would love to know, because if there's something I've missed that might be in alignment with this body of, you know, wanting to read, I want to know about it. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to leave you there. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you stick around a while, and I will see you in the next one.